I'm going to be reacting to a video by Codie Sanchez coaching one of her students about vending machines. If you're new here, I'm Mike Hoffman. I have over 100 locations and over 100 machines over the last 5 years building an empire in multiple states. And Codie's actually a friend of mine where I actually consult her students on buying vending routes. This video is in no way criticizing. It's just my take on viewing this from being in the vending industry for so long. All right, let's dive in.
How much money can you actually make with a vending machine? I've heard people all over the internet say all sorts of crazy numbers. So I'm going to start from scratch to show you in 30 days how much money it costs, how do you start this thing, and how much money we can actually make with a vending machine. Let's get into it.
She's gonna do a 30-day breakdown of starting a vending machine business. Well, guess what? Starting any business is not get rich quick, yet alone vending. People aren't gonna go buy from a machine if they don't know it's there. And what we've noticed is it actually takes increasing sales up to 6 months because people are starting to actually learn that a vending machine is in the building.
We're having connectivity issues.
She's having connectivity issues from a 1980s machine. If you've watched any of my content, I never, ever recommend old school machines. In fact, do you wanna make $2 off of Snickers or make $15 off Tide Pods? That's the difference between AI smart machines that have their own routers in them versus the connectivity of an old school machine trying to connect to the credit card reader.
Oh, you have to authenticate $10. You got up. I can go to freaking Walmart down the street. Oh, bro, they even put a camera.
Now, if you're in a
So these people in the landscaping office are complaining about the $10 hold that they put on the card. Well, clearly they haven't been educated before the machine was installed on this hold, and this is very common practice. So what happens is they have to authorize the card to open that door, and so they put a $10 hold on the machine for a couple hours until they've authorized the transaction. So clearly these landscapers had no clue about that $10 hold, which is all about that education when you go to install a new machine. And what I mean by education is the minute the contract is signed with a location like this landscaping office, you have a gap between when the machine is ordered and when it's delivered. During that gap, you need to go to the location and get feedback through either surveys or just talking to the employees on what they want to put in the machine. A landscaping office probably doesn't care about healthy items because it's a bunch of workers going to a job site. But two, you also need to educate them on simple things like this $10 hold that's gonna show up back on their account within a couple hours, because clearly these landscapers had no clue about the $10 hold.
Now, if we have this closer location and we have this one machine and we don't have the failing machines and you're making 550 extra bucks a month, plus you add another machine, so we're looking at potentially 1K in profit a month. Is this interesting for you?
I'm liking that.
So what is the one thing that we have learned more than anything else about running vending machines?
Location is key.
Location is everything.
Bingo. Cody and Caroline hit it on the head because they went from a bad location they didn't vet to a good location that's closer and requires less time with the smart machines. This just validates a couple things I always preach. First one, location is key to everything. You do not pick your machine until you know the type of location. You also need to vet the location. So that landscaping shed that's 40 minutes away from where they live, that's an hour and 30 minutes of just drive time to go stock the machine. The whole point of this is freedom, not to go sit in traffic. The third thing is you need to vet the location and not just let them vet you. You don't need to rush into a contract. You need to be willing to say no, because we all value our time in different ways. And so I actually love this feedback from Cody and Caroline because I completely agree. Location is everything. And I hate all of the people that rush into putting a vending machine in a car dealership that only has 20 employees. If there's no foot traffic, save the money and wait an extra couple months until you get the right location, not the quickest location. That is key to everything.
You can make thousands with vending machines, but it ain't gonna be passive.
All right, so just finished watching this video and a couple things stood out to me. First one is Vending's not get rich quick. If you're expecting sales to be at its peak within 30 days, you're just set up mentally to be disappointed. People need to know that the machine's there, but also you need to double down on what's selling to truly drive revenue. If half your machine, like at this landscaping shed, are stocked with items they don't want, your sales are gonna be low. So you need to double down on what works, not to mention survey the residents or the employees before you install so you know what type of items they actually want and at what prices they'll actually pay for those items. Number two is that this is not going to be passive at the beginning. If you don't have the right employees and infrastructure to get started with this, you're going to have to stock the machine. You're going to have to go buy the product. You're going to have to install the machine. And this is the beauty of scaling your operation as you scale your route. I always recommend don't hire employees until you know what you're delegating. So that first machine you get as a side hustle, you should stock it. You should get your boots on and roll up your sleeves and install it. All these things are gonna be things that you can learn so then you can delegate. And that's why I loved when we hired our first operator, we hired him from the gigs job postings in Craigslist at 3 hours a week, $20 an hour. Well, that was for our first location. As we scaled to 3 locations, 5 locations, all the way up to 100 locations, we scaled the labor needed to run that route. Once you've installed that first machine and you know what to delegate, that's when you can start hiring good operators to make this as passive as possible. I mean, let's face the facts. I have over 100 machines across 4 different states, and I literally spend less than 2 hours a week because we have great operators that run those routes for us. And I think the other point that I love about her video is old school machines and traditional vending is dead. If you're leading with old school machines, you're setting yourself up for failure. You need to focus on revenue and transactions that are $8, $15, $100, not the $2 Snickers or the $2 12-ounce can of Dr. Pepper. You need to be selling those phone chargers. You need to be selling those jugs of protein. You need to be selling those DayQuils and NyQuils, condoms and makeup wipes out of these AI smart machines, because the traditional machines are gonna do 1/3, sometimes even 1/4 the revenue of an AI smart machine. And that's what I love that Caroline and Cody learned during this process, is they started with the fax machine when they should be using an iPhone. Now look, if you wanna avoid these potholes that Cody and Caroline drove right through, inside Vendingpreneurs, that's exactly what we help coach you through. Our goal is to be your personal board of directors, so you're not going to buy old school machines, you're not going to install in bad locations, and you're not setting yourself up for mental failure thinking that you're going to be rich within 30 days. If this sounds at all like you, click the link below in the description to schedule a call with our team. Thanks for watching. This is Mr. Passive signing off.